Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the beginning of October of 2022, and as we get closer to other Star Wars shows that a lot of fans are holding more interest in, like of course Tales of the Jedi, The Bad Batch Season 2, as well as Mando 3 and Ahsoka, and we have a lot more on the horizon, which by the way will be announced at Star Wars Celebration of 2023, as well as D23 next year. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, ever since, May of this year, when the Kenobi series dropped on Disney+, a lot of Star Wars fans have been expressing a lot of criticism over the use of the characters in that show based on what Joby Harold did, as well as Deborah Chow, and they all had valid reasons, right? We all had a lot of problems with the Kenobi series, and yes, there are a handful of fans that love the show through and through, and that's perfectly fine and okay and all, truly it is. But when we look at the majority of the fans, they all had some kind of criticism with the show for obvious reasons. And this, as of late, has been causing a lot of Disney executives to regroup, kind of create these plans for what we have been talking about as the reboot of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that's still going to be considered a Season 2. So basically it's going to be a soft reboot of the Kenobi TV show, and they're going to be borrowing a lot of storyboards from Stuart Beatty's scripts. Now, what's really all the more intriguing is exactly what Favreau and Filoni are up to with that project, and exactly what Disney is allowing to happen for this new Kenobi movie trilogy being transferred over into a rebooted version of the Kenobi series. That's basically what they're doing. So with that being said, with many new Star Wars TV shows currently in the works by Favreau and Filoni, Disney executives are already well into the planning stages of the Obi-Wan Kenobi reboot that will be treated as a Season 2 as well. Now, it's noted that Favreau and Filoni are involved in taking many of Beatty's storyboards from the Kenobi movie trilogy, of course, to be used in the reboot, one of which involves a very tense moment between two fan-favorite characters that will now be finalized into the script. The illustration involves a moment in which Vader is hunting down Jedi that are in hiding on a strange new world that will be inserted into canon that eventually leads to Mace Windu having an actual confrontation against Lord Vader. Both Vader and Mace are said to be on top of a large bridge that looks over a cliff that attaches to an ancient Jedi temple. Now, for those of you that have been out of the loop, we've been talking about this of how the Kenobi trilogy storyboards actually brings back Mace Windu to life. Basically, that he never really died. Not that he came back to life, but that he never really died from the fall by Emperor Palpatine using the Force lightning against him and shooting him out of the Coruscant window. And that brings us to where we are now. So basically they are salvaging a lot of Beatty's storyboards from the Kenobi movie trilogy and throwing them into the Kenobi series reboot. And like I said before, it's still going to be considered a continuation of what we got with the Kenobi show, except this is going to be a soft reboot. Now, that, of course, is a very interesting strategy that they do have, because it's going to go under a different title. It's said to not be called Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 per se, but it will be treated like that. So, moving forward from this, both Mace and Vader exchange some dialogue where the storyboard entails that Vader lets it accidentally slip to Mace Windu who he really is by telling Mace Windu that he thought Palpatine had killed him. It's indicated in the storyboard that Mace Windu questions how Vader knows he was even attacked by Palpatine. This is when and how Mace realizes that Vader is indeed Anakin Skywalker, which angers Vader after Mace threatens to expose his identity across the galaxy. This is said to be used as a tactic against Vader to make him very angry, to lose control and lose his focus, where they have a short saber duel where the bridge eventually collapses, where both Vader and Mace run their separate ways, almost identical to what happens between both Rey and Kylo on Starkiller Base. However, the difference here is Mace actually force pushes Vader, where they are teased to have another saber duel later on in the series from Beatty's storyboards that were used in the Kenobi movie trilogy that will be used as well. Now, here's the thing about this too, is that Stuart Beattie, I don't know if you guys knew about this, but Stuart Beattie actually talked about this a couple of months ago, right around when the Kenobi trilogy was pretty much unveiled to be a real thing. He actually said that this trilogy of his was going to have tons of cameos. It was going to be very fan servicey, but to the point of realism. And basically bringing Mace back into Star Wars. Alright, I can see how a lot of fans might have problems with that, but let's not forget, if Darth Maul survived, it just doesn't make much sense to me as to why Mace Windu would die, right? And we talked about one of the storyboards for the Kenobi trilogy, showcasing how Mace Windu survives the fall, is that he actually latches onto one of the speeders as he's falling out the window. And that's basically how he survives the fall. It's not that he hits the ground and survives or anything like that. The storyboard, the illustration actually entailed that Mace Windu gets shot out the window by Palpatine and somehow, some way, latches onto one of the speeders flying by. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you look at how many, speeder flying car, things are flying across the city, it just goes to show you that there are endless possibilities to latch onto one of those. So all the speeders going back and forth, that was basically Mace Windu's, Hail Mary to survive, to just grab onto one of those things. Now, obviously, that is probably the most realistic thing that Beattie could have done, and that's what they want to actually utilize in the new Disney canon, with using all of these new storyboards, all of these new illustrations for the Kenobi series reboot. Now, the next thing that I do want to go over here is that Vader is said to have a slightly upgraded suit planned for the Kenobi series reboot. Now, we're not quite sure how extensive those upgrades will be, but there is going to be a minor design difference in Kenobi Season 2. Given that they are planning to make this take place 2 years after the events of the last one, it's going to have a lot more stories to be involved surrounding Kenobi, Mace, hidden Jedi across the galaxy, and more. And they actually kind of teased that in Kenobi Season 1, and you can see how Favreau and Filoni can take advantage of that by utilizing the story of the Path. The Path is a very important piece of Kenobi Episode 3, I believe it was, where it's heavily teased that Quinlan Vos even actually went through there. He's looking at all of the carvings on the wall, and it really just goes to show you that there's more to the lore than we know. Now, obviously, a lot of fans love the character of Mace. It's going to be great to have him back. This is, by the way, going to be utilized not just in live action, but also in new upcoming books that are to be released in 2024, as well as new comic books. So it's going to be canon across all different formats, live action, books, comics, you name it, to really get it out there and to really make it very familiar with the fandom. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.